What if the very foods you embrace for longevity are silently escalating your stroke risk? For individuals over 60, the seemingly innocent act of choosing a healthy dinner can, by morning, transform into an invisible neurovascular threat. While public health campaigns rightly warn against processed foods, a growing body of clinical evidence, including findings from the American Heart Association and ongoing geriatric nutritional studies, reveals a more nuanced danger. Common vegetables, long celebrated as dietary cornerstones, can paradoxically contribute to cerebrovascular events when consumed without specific age-related considerations. My decades of work in geriatric health have illuminated a critical, often overlooked truth. An aging metabolism processes nutrients differently. What sustained vitality at 40 can, at 70, subtly become detrimental, especially in synergy with prescribed medications like anticoagulants or antihypertensives, or when consumed at suboptimal times. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about empowering precision. The imperative is not elimination, but informed adaptation. By understanding these distinct physiological shifts, you can transform your plate into a shield, actively safeguarding your cognitive function and independence. Today, we dissect 9 prevalent vegetables that, for individuals over 60, may subtly increase stroke risk, and crucially, unveil scientifically backed strategies for their safer, more informed consumption. I assure you, the final vegetable on this list, a staple found in nearly every senior's weekly diet, harbors the most significant hidden danger that has altered my patients' dietary practices forever.
Hidden dangers on your plate. How every day vegetables can elevate stroke risk in seniors. Consider this common scenario. You are an individual over 60, heading to bed after a seemingly healthy dinner, confident in your food choices. However, by morning, your brain could be silently confronting an unexpected threat. There are no overt symptoms like chest pain, just a sudden slurred word, a weakened limb, or an inexplicable bout of dizziness. What often astonishes seniors is discovering that this risk does not originate from typical culprits like fried or fast foods, but from a vegetable, one consistently celebrated for decades as a cornerstone of a healthy diet. Drawing upon my extensive professional experience with older adults, I have observed this insidious phenomenon with unsettling regularity. The very foods that once sustained your vitality at 40 can, at 70, subtly become detrimental, especially when consumed alongside common medications or at suboptimal times. The troubling truth is that adverse effects may remain unnoticed until a critical stage. Nevertheless, there's reassuring news. Eliminating vegetables completely is neither necessary nor advisable, nor should you approach eating with anxiety. The imperative is enhanced awareness. By understanding the distinct physiological changes in an aging body's food processing, you can continue to enjoy your meals judiciously and safely, actively protecting your brain health and maintaining your independence. Consequently, in this discussion, we will methodically examine 9 prevalent vegetables that, for individuals over 60, may subtly increase stroke risk. Crucially, we will also outline strategies for their safer, more informed consumption. Be advised, the final vegetable on this list, a staple consumed weekly by nearly every senior, may present the most significant hidden danger. Before we delve into these specific insights, please indicate in the comments section where you are joining us from today. It is incredibly rewarding to witness the global expansion of the ageless vitality community. If you are new to our platform, please remember to subscribe to ensure you receive all vital senior health insights that could genuinely improve your life. The nuanced impact of healthy vegetables on the aging body. Let us now commence with a vegetable you likely consider a trusted dietary staple, yet after the age of 60, its physiological interaction may subtly evolve into an invisible adversary for your brain. 1. Spinach, a dual-edged sword for the aging brain. Spinach has been heralded for decades as a quintessential superfood, with physicians, dietitians, and popular culture celebrating its capacity to boost iron, build muscle, and foster youthful vigor. These attributes are valid. Spinach is indeed rich in magnesium, fiber, and antioxidants, contributing positively to cardiac and bone health. However, a crucial, often overlooked reality emerges after age 60. Without judicious consideration of when and how it's consumed, spinach can subtly transition from a healthful ally to a silent adversary. The underlying physiological mechanism involves oxalates, compounds naturally abundant in spinach that strongly bind with calcium in the body. In younger individuals, healthy kidneys typically excrete these oxalates efficiently, yet with aging, kidney function naturally declines, blood vessels stiffen, and many seniors initiate calcium and vitamin D supplementation for bone density. Under these combined conditions, oxalates from spinach can complex with calcium to form minute calcium oxalate crystals within the bloodstream. Initially imperceptible, these microscopic crystals can, over months and years, progressively harden and narrow the delicate small blood vessels supplying the brain. This process can be conceptualized as grains of sand gradually obstructing a fine pipeline. Ultimately, diminished blood flow and reduced oxygen supply ensue, culminating one day when a minor clot is sufficient to completely block circulation, precipitating a silent stroke, often during sleep. This precise sequence of events tragically unfolded for Harold Briner, a 76-year-old retired firefighter from Milwaukee and one of my patients. Harold meticulously followed what he believed to be a healthy regimen, a nightly spinach salad with a touch of feta, coupled with his vitamin D and calcium supplements for bone strength, a routine he proudly maintained for years. However, one winter morning, Harold's wife discovered him slumped at the kitchen table, coffee spilled, his speech unintelligible. He had suffered a stroke in his sleep. Diagnostic scans revealed narrowed and calcified cerebral arteries, and blood tests indicated elevated calcium and oxalate levels, a perfect storm that had gradually developed. Harold survived, but he now requires assistance with walking and can no longer drive. He tearfully confessed, "Doctor, I just wanted to eat healthy. I had no idea my salad was hurting me." This poignant reality underscores a fundamental truth for many seniors. Spinach is not inherently harmful. Rather, our physiological responses evolve with age. What was once unequivocally beneficial can, without adaptive dietary practices, subtly cause harm. Therefore, the critical considerations are: timing is paramount. If you enjoy spinach, consume it during breakfast or lunch, when your body's metabolic processes are more active and efficient. Consult your physician, particularly if you are using calcium or vitamin D supplements, or if you have pre-existing kidney or cardiac conditions. Prioritize balance over excess. Occasional consumption is perfectly acceptable. It is the consistent, daily, and excessive intake that creates cumulative issues. Spinach remains a valuable source of nutrition, but for those over 65, specific guidelines apply. Adhering to these rules ensures spinach remains a beneficial ally. Disregarding them risks making it a silent threat to your brain. 2. Broccoli, cardiovascular ally or covert cerebral risk. Most of us were raised with the imperative to eat your broccoli, and for valid reasons. Broccoli is rich in fiber, antioxidants, and essential vitamins, supporting robust heart health and disease prevention. For decades, it has been an exemplar of healthy, beneficial eating. Yet, many seniors are unaware that after age 60, broccoli can subtly become hazardous. This is not due to any intrinsic flaw in the vegetable itself, but rather its intricate interactions with medications commonly prescribed to older adults. The hidden concern lies with vitamin K, a nutrient found in high concentrations within broccoli. Vitamin K is indispensable for blood clotting processes. For younger individuals, this is largely beneficial, aiding in wound healing and preventing excessive bleeding. However, for seniors, taking anticoagulants such as warfarin, clopidogrel, or even daily low-dose aspirin, vitamin K can disrupt a highly delicate therapeutic balance. The mechanism is as follows. A sudden, substantial increase in broccoli consumption while on blood thinners can lead to excessive blood clotting, significantly elevating the risk of stroke or heart attack. Conversely, inconsistent weekly broccoli intake renders medication effects unpredictable, causing blood to become either too thick or dangerously thin. The most alarming aspect is that these detrimental shifts may manifest without any perceptible symptoms until a critical event occurs. Consider Clara Newton, an 82-year-old retired teacher from Pennsylvania. Clara was scrupulous about her health regimen, faithfully adhering to her medications and consuming steamed broccoli with olive oil every evening, convinced it was preserving her cardiac health. What she did not realize was that her daily broccoli intake was interfering with her prescribed blood thinner. Her blood stability became compromised, fluctuating dangerously between clotting and thinning. One afternoon, after experiencing a mild headache and confusion, Clara collapsed. At the hospital, scans confirmed a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding within her brain. The cause was not high blood pressure or trauma, but critically thinned blood, unable to clot properly. Clara survived, but her life was irrevocably altered. She now uses a walker, and her speech is markedly slower. She shares her story to caution others. Don't assume healthy food is harmless. For those of us in this age group, it is not. Therefore, for all individuals over 60, the imperative is clear. Broccoli itself is not the antagonist. The danger stems from inconsistency. If you are on blood thinners, complete elimination of broccoli is not necessarily required. What is essential is to consume it in consistent, measured quantities and maintain open, regular communication with your physician. This approach allows for safe adjustment of medication dosages and effective risk management. Remember, as we age, blood vessels become thinner and more fragile. A situation that might result in minor issues for a younger person could have devastating consequences for someone in their 70s or 80s. This profoundly underscores why informed knowledge and judicious balance are your most potent defenses. So yes, broccoli can still be a valuable part of your diet, but treat it with informed respect. Consistency, moderation, and medical guidance are paramount to ensuring this healthy food does not subtly jeopardize your brain health. 3. Romaine lettuce. Crisp and refreshing, yet risky at night. For many seniors, a salad for dinner embodies the epitome of a sensible, healthy choice. Light, low-calorie, and easily digestible. It appears to be the ideal method for weight management and cardiac protection. Romaine lettuce frequently forms the foundation of such salads, crisp, refreshing, and celebrated for its vitamins and fiber. However, the truth often withheld from seniors is this. Consuming romaine lettuce at an ill-advised time, particularly in the evening, may subtly elevate your risk of an early morning stroke. The underlying reason lies in romaine lettuce's inherent diuretic properties. It gently stimulates your body to excrete water. For younger individuals, this effect is largely negligible. But after 65, it can dangerously disrupt fluid balance, especially if you are already taking blood pressure medication, diuretics, or adhering to a low-sodium diet. Why? Because dehydration in older adults does not always present as overt thirst. As we age, the body's thirst signals weaken, meaning you may not perceive dehydration even as your blood volume decreases, rendering your blood thicker, more akin to syrup than water. Thickened blood, flowing through already narrowed and aging arteries, creates an ideal environment for clot formation. A sudden shift in blood pressure during sleep, and a clot can obstruct blood flow to the brain. This exact scenario unfolded for Leon Carter, a 75-year-old retired factory worker from New Orleans. Every evening, Leon engaged in what many would consider healthy practices: a large romaine lettuce salad with cucumber and vinegar, avoidance of greasy dinners, daily exercise and active participation in his church. But one morning, his wife discovered him confused, his speech slurred, and his right arm weak. He had suffered a minor stroke overnight. At the hospital, doctors identified signs of dehydration and blood that was abnormally viscous. Combined with his blood pressure medication, his nightly Romaine habit had subtly created the conditions for a clot to form during his sleep. Leon recovered after months of therapy, but his confidence was profoundly shaken. He shared with me, "I thought I was eating so healthy. I had no idea lettuce would do that." Thus, the lesson here is critical. Romaine lettuce is not intrinsically detrimental. However, after age 60, timing and context are indispensable. Even subtle alterations in hydration or blood viscosity can have significant repercussions. To safeguard your health, adjust your salad schedule. Enjoy romaine lettuce at lunch when your body is active and typically better hydrated, rather than late in the evening. Hydrate strategically. If you do consume leafy greens at night, accompany them with a small glass of water to support circulation. Be cognizant of medications. If you are prescribed diuretics or blood pressure medication, discuss with your doctor how foods with diuretic effects might interact. Romaine lettuce can remain a healthy dietary component, but after 65, inappropriate timing may subtly compromise your brain health. Consume it judiciously, and it will remain a beneficial component, not a risk factor. 4. Raw carrots, a sweet treat that can turn treacherous. After 60, carrots have long maintained a reputation as one of the healthiest snacks: crisp, low-calorie, naturally sweet, and abundant in beta-carotene, beneficial for eye health. They are often the preferred guilt-free option in many refrigerators. Yet, the surprising truth is this: for older adults, particularly when consumed raw and at an inopportune time, carrots can subtly destabilize blood sugar in circulation, thereby increasing the risk of a stroke during sleep. Here's the physiological process. Raw carrots are rapidly digested, releasing their natural sugars into the bloodstream. In younger individuals with robust insulin responses, this presents minimal concern. However, in seniors, especially those with pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or pre-existing circulatory issues, even a moderate evening sugar spike can initiate a perilous cascade of events. After you consume raw carrots in the evening, your blood sugar levels rise. In response, your body releases insulin to lower them. However, older adults often exhibit a delayed or exaggerated insulin response, meaning blood sugar may plummet excessively overnight, a condition known as nocturnal hypoglycemia. When this occurs, the body activates a stress response, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones constrict blood vessels and elevate blood pressure, often exacerbated by the nocturnal dehydration many seniors already experience. This physiological environment significantly increases blood's propensity to clot. When clots form in the brain's minuscule arteries, an early morning stroke can be the tragic consequence. This is precisely what happened to Leah Henderson, a 78-year-old retired nurse from Portland, Oregon. Leah had always taken pride in her healthy habits, replacing processed sweets with raw vegetables, especially carrots. "They were my bedtime snack," she proudly informed me. Over time, however, she began waking up feeling dizzy, confused, and occasionally with tingling in her hands, attributing it simply to aging. Then one morning, she couldn't recall how to brew coffee, a simple routine she had followed daily for 40 years. Her husband rushed her to the emergency room, where tests confirmed she had suffered a minor stroke. Doctors identified nocturnal blood sugar fluctuations and signs of microclot formation in her cerebral vessels. Her seemingly healthy carrot habit, eaten raw at the wrong time, had subtly placed her body in jeopardy. Leah recovered, but now earnestly warns her friends, "I thought I was doing everything right. I never thought carrots would hurt me." So, what should older adults discern from this? Carrots are not the adversary. They remain an excellent source of vitamins and antioxidants, but their consumption must be judicious. Avoid eating them raw and in isolation during the evening. Enjoy them earlier in the day when your body can more efficiently manage blood sugar fluctuations. Pair them with protein or healthy fats. Hummus, a boiled egg, or a handful of nuts can help modulate sugar absorption. Be vigilant about your physiological patterns. If you experience morning confusion, dizziness, or unusual fatigue, discuss your nighttime eating habits with your physician. Carrots can still be an integral part of a brain-healthy diet. But after 60, even the sweetest snack comes with specific guidelines. Timing and accompanying foods determine whether it offers healing or harm.
5. Garlic, nature's medicine or a silent cerebral risk. For centuries, garlic has been extolled as nature's potent medicinal food, lauded for its ability to lower blood pressure, support cardiac function, combat infections, and enhance immunity. Many seniors even integrate garlic supplements or rock loaves into their meals, convinced of their profound health benefits. Indeed, garlic often confers substantial advantages. However, what most seniors are not adequately informed of is that for older adults, particularly those on blood thinners, garlic can subtly shift from a protective agent to a perilous factor, occasionally with devastating consequences. The reason is as follows. Garlic acts as a natural anticoagulant, thinning the blood and reducing its clotting capacity. In isolation, this effect can indeed lower the risk of heart attack and stroke. However, when combined with common prescription medications such as warfarin, clopidogrel, rivaroxaban, or even a daily low-dose aspirin, this anticoagulant effect is significantly compounded. The blood can become excessively thin, rendering fragile, aging vessels highly susceptible to bleeding. Within the brain, such bleeding can be catastrophic. Allow me to share the cautionary tale of Thomas Reeves, an 81-year-old retired railroad engineer from Missouri. Following a minor heart procedure, Thomas was prescribed blood thinners. To naturally enhance his health, he began taking a 600 milligrams garlic supplement every morning and added a raw garlic clove to his dinner each night. He never disclosed this to his physician, believing it to be inconsequential. 3 weeks later, Thomas started experiencing intense headaches, light sensitivity, and nausea. Then one evening, his speech became slurred and he collapsed. At the hospital, scans revealed he had suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside his brain. His blood had become so profoundly thin that a small vessel simply ruptured. As we reviewed his supplements and medications, the cause became disturbingly clear. It was not the medication alone, nor the garlic alone. It was the dangerous potentiation resulting from their combination. Thomas later recounted, his voice weak, "I just wanted to help my heart. I had no idea I was digging my own grave." This underscores a crucial lesson. Garlic is not benign simply because it is natural. In fact, garlic supplements are often far more concentrated than the cloves used in culinary applications. For an aging body on prescription medications, this additional boost can subtly transform a healing intention into an unwitting harm. Therefore, here is how to safely incorporate garlic after 60. Firstly, consult your physician. If you are on any blood thinners, never add garlic supplements without explicit medical guidance. Prioritize food forms. Garlic used as a seasoning in cooking is generally safe in moderate amounts, but concentrated supplements can severely destabilize your blood chemistry. Be vigilant for warning signs. Easy bruising, frequent nosebleeds, unexplained fatigue, or new-onset headaches could all be subtle indicators that your blood is excessively thin. Garlic can remain a powerful ally to your health, but at this stage of life, it must be approached with the same respect accorded to a prescription medication. Used judiciously, it can support your heart and immunity. Used carelessly, it may subtly increase your risk of a brain hemorrhage. 6. Onions, flavorful and beneficial, yet not always harmless after 60. Onions are among the most ubiquitous and versatile vegetables in any kitchen, celebrated for their rich antioxidant content, cholesterol-lowering properties, and anti-inflammatory benefits. For decades, they have been lauded as a heart-healthy food. However, what most seniors are often unaware of is that after age 60, onions can subtly introduce risks to your brain and circulatory system. This is not because they are inherently harmful, but due to their specific interactions with an aging physiology and common medications. The key compound in onions is quercetin. This potent antioxidant also functions as a natural vasodilator, meaning it relaxes and widens blood vessels. In younger individuals, this helps to maintain healthy blood pressure. But in older adults, particularly those already taking blood pressure medications or anticoagulants, this vasodilatory effect can become excessively pronounced. Here's what can transpire: excessive blood pressure drop. The combined effect of onions and certain medications can cause blood pressure to fall too low, especially during nocturnal hours. Reduced oxygen delivery. Lower blood pressure inherently means the brain receives less oxygen and fewer vital nutrients, rendering it more vulnerable to damage. Reactive vasoconstriction. The body may sometimes react to low blood pressure by suddenly constricting blood vessels, which ironically promotes clot formation, elevated stroke risk. This unstable cycle of dilation and constriction creates an ideal environment for microclots to form and lodge in fragile cerebral arteries. Another critical factor is timing. Consuming large quantities of raw onions in the evening can exacerbate these nocturnal effects. When the body is typically less hydrated and already more prone to blood pressure fluctuations, seniors with pre-existing cardiovascular disease, atrial fibrillation, or circulatory problems face a heightened risk. This does not imply a complete avoidance of onions. Indeed, they still offer immense health benefits when used wisely. But after 60, they necessitate an approach marked by respect and moderation. Practical advice for seniors: use onions as a flavor enhancer, not a primary component. Small amounts incorporated into cooking are safer than large raw portions. Prefer cooked onions. Cooking can temper quercetin's effects on blood pressure and make onions easier to digest. Avoid large evening consumption. Shift onion-rich meals to lunchtime, when your circulation is typically stronger and hydration levels are generally higher. Pay close attention to symptoms. Morning dizziness, mental fogginess, or unexplained fatigue could be subtle indicators that your blood pressure is dropping too low. Onions remain a valuable ingredient in a brain-healthy diet, but like many foods, after 60, they come with new rules. Balance, timing, and awareness are key too. Enjoying their flavor and benefits without inadvertently putting your brain and circulation at risk.
7. Corn. Sweet and familiar, yet subtly dangerous. After 60, for many, corn embodies comfort food, whether a warm side dish at a barbecue, a bowl of grits for breakfast, or an ear of corn on the cob in summer. It is deeply ingrained in culinary traditions, appears harmless, tastes sweet, and has been consumed for generations. However, what most seniors do not realize is that nutritionally, corn functions less like a typical vegetable and more like a starch. This means that upon consumption, your body rapidly converts its natural sugars into glucose, elevating your blood sugar, much like a slice of white bread. And after age 60, this distinction holds profound significance. Why? Because many seniors already contend with sluggish insulin responses and diminished blood flow to the brain. Here's the physiological cascade initiated by corn consumption, particularly in the evening: rapid blood sugar spike. Corn quickly raises glucose levels, compelling the body to release insulin. Exaggerated senior response. An aging body frequently releases insulin too slowly and sometimes excessively, meaning blood sugar doesn't descend smoothly. It can plummet sharply. Nocturnal hormonal surge. As blood sugar levels drop during sleep, your body secretes stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to compensate. Vascular stress and clot risk. These hormones constrict blood vessels and elevate blood pressure in already fragile, aging arteries. This combination of thickened blood and blood pressure fluctuations creates an optimal environment for tiny clots to form. This roller coaster effect not only induces fatigue, but can also subtly increase your stroke risk. Seniors with diabetes, prediabetes, hypertension, or vascular disease are particularly vulnerable. Another subtle concern with corn is its comparatively lower content of essential micronutrients relative to other vegetables. While it offers fiber, it lacks the potent antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds found abundantly in leafy greens or berries. This implies you may not be receiving as many protective benefits, yet you are still contending with the significant glucose impact. So does this necessitate complete elimination of corn? Not necessarily, but after 60, its consumption must be judicious. Practical advice for seniors: avoid eating corn in isolation. Pair it with protein or healthy fats, for example, corn with beans, eggs, or avocado, to slow sugar absorption. Refrain from consuming corn in the evening. The cycle of nocturnal blood sugar spikes and crashes is particularly hazardous during sleep, when hydration levels are lower and the brain is more sensitive to circulatory changes. Limit frequency. Instead of daily grits or corn chips, consider corn as an occasional side dish. Opt for whole forms. Fresh corn on the cob is less processed and digested more slowly than cornmeal or cornflakes. Corn may seem a safe, familiar food, but after 60, if consumed improperly, it can subtly steer your brain and blood vessels onto a dangerous trajectory. By limiting when and how you eat it, you can still enjoy its flavor without incurring a hidden physiological cost. 8. Asparagus, elegant on the plate. Potentially depleting. Within asparagus has long been regarded as a clean vegetable, light, elegant, and a frequent inclusion in healthy meal plans or detox diets. For older adults seeking to avoid heavy foods, asparagus appears to be among the safest, most sensible dietary choices. However, there is a hidden truth. Asparagus is a natural diuretic, meaning it gently encourages your body to expel water. While this sounds innocuous, even beneficial for detoxing after age 60, it can subtly predispose you to serious problems, particularly when consumed in the evening. The reasons are multifaceted. Aging kidneys are less efficient. By your 70s and 80s, kidneys do not regulate fluid balance as effectively as they once did. Thirst signals diminish. Older adults often do not perceive thirst, even when their bodies are experiencing significant dehydration. Blood vessels are more fragile. As we age, arteries stiffen and cannot as readily adapt to rapid changes in blood volume. When asparagus flushes water from your bloodstream, it reduces overall blood volume, which in turn makes the blood thicker. Visualize syrup rather than water flowing through your arteries, and thicker blood is inherently more prone to clotting, especially within the delicate vessels supplying the brain. Couple this with blood pressure medications or blood thinners that many seniors already take, and the risk significantly amplifies. The danger is most pronounced during nocturnal hours. If you consume asparagus with dinner, its diuretic effect continues while you sleep. Your body is already in a more dehydrated state. You are not actively replenishing fluids, and your blood is subtly thickening. At this critical juncture, a small clot can form and impede oxygen supply to the brain, triggering a stroke in the early morning hours. This does not imply that asparagus is inherently detrimental. It remains rich in vitamins A, C, E, and K, as well as fiber and antioxidants, all contributing to healthy aging. But like many foods, after 60, comes with new guidelines. Practical advice for seniors: avoid consuming asparagus too late in the day. Enjoy it at lunch or earlier when you can actively maintain adequate hydration. Hydrate consciously. If you incorporate asparagus into your diet, pair it with a glass of water or a hydrating food like cucumber or melon. Be aware if you take diuretics or blood pressure medication. Asparagus can intensify their effects, so always consult your physician regarding safe food medication combinations. Watch for early warning signs. Morning dizziness, unexplained fatigue, or a persistent dry mouth can be subtle clues that your body is underhydrated. Asparagus can still be a wonderful component of your meals, but after 60 it must be consumed thoughtfully, with careful adjustments for timing and hydration. You can enjoy its elegance on the plate without allowing it to subtly deplete your brain and circulation as you sleep. 9. Tomatoes, fresh and healthy, yet a disguised stroke. Mimica. Tomatoes often symbolize the very essence of a healthy diet. Sliced into salads, simmered into sauces, or blended into soups, they are light, refreshing, and frequently lauded for their benefits to the heart, skin, and vision. For decades, many seniors have regarded tomatoes as a safe, healthy dietary staple. However, what most are unaware of is that after age 60, tomatoes can subtly create issues within the brain and circulatory system. This is not due to any inherent badness, but rather to the chemical compounds they contain and how an aging body processes these substances. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family and contain 3 key compounds that can pose risks to seniors: histamines and tyramines. These compounds can trigger inflammatory responses, unpredictably constrict or dilate blood vessels, and elevate blood pressure in sensitive individuals. Solanine. A natural glycoalkaloid found in nightshades, solanine, when consumed in excess, can irritate the nervous system, potentially causing symptoms such as dizziness, numbness, or headaches. Tomato acidity. Tomatoes are inherently acidic, and frequent intake can interfere with electrolyte balance, specifically affecting magnesium and calcium levels, all of which are crucial for stable nerve signaling and vascular tone. When these effects accumulate, particularly in an aging brain with more fragile blood vessels, the resulting symptoms can remarkably resemble those of a stroke: blurred vision, dizziness, slurred speech, headaches, or numbness in the limbs. Medical professionals sometimes refer to these as stroke mimickers, conditions not caused by a clot or bleed, but by a sudden disruption of brain chemistry and circulation. The risk is amplified for seniors consuming large, tomato-based meals in the evening. The danger is further heightened if you combine tomatoes with other nightshades, such as bell peppers, eggplant, or potatoes, take blood pressure medication, circulatory medications, or nerve health medications, or contend with dehydration or electrolyte imbalances. This does not imply a need to eliminate tomatoes entirely. They remain rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that protects the heart and skin, but after 60, they necessitate moderation and intelligent timing. Practical advice for seniors. Avoid heavy tomato meals in the evening. A late-night tomato soup, sauce, or stew can subtly destabilize your body chemistry. Pair with minerals. Consume tomatoes with magnesium-rich foods like spinach or pumpkin seeds to help counterbalance their acidic effects. Be attentive to your body's signals. If you experience dizziness, mental fogginess, headaches, or swelling after a significant tomato meal, do not simply dismiss it as a symptom of aging. Cook gently. Cooking tomatoes can reduce their solanine content and enhance the bioavailability of their beneficial antioxidants. Moderation is paramount. A few slices in a salad or sandwich during the day are safer than several bowls of tomato soup nightly. Tomatoes are not antagonists, but after 60, even foods once considered harmless can interact differently within your body. The key lies in respecting the physiological changes your brain and circulatory system undergo with age. By consuming them in moderation, at appropriate times of day, and balanced with other nutrients, you can still enjoy their benefits without falling victim to their hidden risks. A final admonition. Awareness is the true medicine. It is entirely natural to feel a sense of surprise, perhaps even a slight unease, after learning about the hidden risks associated with these 9 common vegetables. After all, we have been consistently advised throughout our lives to prioritize vegetable consumption for good health, and in most contexts, that advice remains profoundly sound. However, what fundamentally shifts after age 60 is the way your body responds to and processes these foods. Your kidneys filter differently, your blood vessels are more fragile, and your hydration needs undergo significant alteration. If you are concurrently taking medications, such as blood thinners, blood pressure medication, or diabetes treatments, even foods once deemed perfectly safe can disrupt delicate physiological balances in dangerous ways. This is where the true, overarching lesson resides. It is not merely about what you eat, but also when you eat it, how much you consume, and what other physiological processes are concurrently active within your body. A spinach salad at lunchtime might genuinely fortify you, but that identical salad consumed for dinner could subtly expose you to an increased risk of clotting or bleeding. Garlic used judiciously in cooking might protect your heart, but concentrated garlic supplements combined with medication could thin your blood to a perilous degree. Carrots can nourish your eyes and skin, but eaten raw just before bed, they might disrupt your blood sugar balance during sleep. None of this suggests you should harbor apprehension toward vegetables. Rather, it emphatically means knowledge is power. By understanding these complex interactions, you can adapt your diet to your age, transforming food back into a profound source of medicine rather than an insidious threat. Therefore, here are actionable steps you can implement immediately. Simplify your dietary choices. Opt for whole, nutrient-dense foods that do not induce drastic blood sugar or hydration fluctuations. Strategically, time your meals. Heavier or diuretic vegetables should be consumed earlier in the day, not late in the evening. Maintain optimal hydration. Even a single glass of water in the evening can significantly impact the health of your brain and circulatory system. Communicate proactively with your physician. Bring this newfound knowledge to your appointments. Inquire specifically how your medications might interact with common foods you consume daily. You are not powerless in this process. In fact, you are more empowered than ever. Through awareness, you can make small, intentional changes that safeguard your independence, your memory, and your future. Because at Ageless Vitality, we firmly believe that aging does not necessitate decline. It can and should signify wisdom, the profound wisdom to listen attentively to your body, adapt intelligently, and truly thrive. Now I am eager to hear from you. Which of these vegetable guidelines surprised you the most? Will you alter when or how you consume them? Please share your responses in the comments below. Your personal insights might inspire others. If you found this presentation helpful, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe so you do not miss our next crucial insight into senior health that could profoundly change your life. Remember, what you strategically place on your plate today becomes the strength, clarity, and independence you will possess tomorrow. Here's to not just living longer, but living stronger, sharper, and wiser.